Good afternoon. My name is Edwin Patterson. Thanks for watching today. The topic today is an interesting one. It goes back to some of the Christian ministers I've seen on YouTube, identifying the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in a very short, succinct thought. They're a cult who believes in the wrong Jesus and are going to hell. So this is a third of three videos. The first two covered, are we going to hell? Do we believe in the wrong Jesus? Now we're going to talk about what the heck is a cult, and do the Mormons qualify? Is that a proper way to call us out? So I had thoughts in my mind. I was saying, I could think of different cults in my own lifetime. Jim Jones, for an example, who took his people down to South America and then had them all drink poison and kill them. That seemed like a cult to me. But what is the definition of a cult, and does it apply? So let me just say some things I've found. So the first definitions come from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Now, just an interesting side note, cult is not found in the 1828 dictionary. There wasn't even a word at that point in time. So it's come since then. Just interesting on the sidebar for me. Number one, they divide cults into two kind of groups. One is religious and one is other. And the other would be sports figures, singers, politicians, that type of thing. So you have on this side kind of the secular cult. I'm following this person no matter what. Cult or Trump may be like one of those, oh yes, I love Trump no matter he's good, bad, or in between, or Biden the other way. Okay, so we put them to the side. That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing religious cults now. So a religion regarded as unorthodox. Now, I must say, in the Christian world, we're definitely considered unorthodox. So I could see that fitting in somewhere. That makes sense to me. Great devotion to a person, idea, or object. And the point in Merriam-Webster is like a film star, like a sports star, on and on and on, like I've already discussed. Now, they would say, well, that's Joseph Smith. And yes, we are venerate Joseph being a prophet of God. We don't worship him. We don't follow him closely as if whatever he says I must do. But we'll get to more of that in a little bit. The last for Merriam-Webster is a system of religious beliefs, which again, he qualifies for. So somewhere in there I could say, oh yes, the Mormons are in some way a cult. However, how many more qualified, and you may know this or may not, there are 40,000 different Christian sects in the world, 40,000. How many of those would qualify? I don't know, but a lot of opportunity there. Now let's go to Wikipedia. What do they say? They pin it down more specifically. A group led by a group led by a charismatic and self-appointed leader. Okay. So in my little world, I think of Kim Jong-un over in North Korea. Now, he is a dictator. He is the people buy into him 100%. He is like God to them. Now, that fits in my world of cult. Secondly, they tightly control its members. Okay, that's interesting. Now, think about this. In this church, there is no compulsion. There's less and less under President Nelson. Whether I go to church or not, I don't get a mark. Whether I go to the temple or not, I don't get a mark. Whether I do my home teaching or not, I don't get a mark. I do what I do. So I would say there's very little in terms of control by the church on what I do. I can do whatever I want. Okay, that's interesting. And the last is, its members require unwavering devotion. Now, I've had friends leave the church. I've had friends come into the church. There's no control that says you got to be like this. And so cult becomes less viable in my mind. Now, let me give you a couple of examples of some cults in America that I've experienced in my lifetime. So Jim Jones, the People's Temple, started in San Francisco. In my opinion, that was a cult. They followed him religiously. He was the boss. He was a leader. He was strict. He controlled. The government started to overcome him, the American government, so he moved his people to South America. And there they got more pressure. And so what happened there? He had them all drink poison and die. He controlled them very, very specifically. That to me is a cult. And that would be the kind of thing we want to stay away from. What religion would want to be like that? The second is Branch Davidians. You may remember them with David Koresh. They were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they had a very specific belief, but he was leading it. They followed him. He became that person of adoration. They were down in Texas, in Waco. The American government, for whatever reason, said, we're going to get them out of there. We don't like them. So they surrounded the place. They wouldn't come out. They lit fires, and they burned themselves to death. That's a cult. A lot of control by the one, power over the others. The last, you may or may not remember, Heaven's Gate. That was a group of folks in San Francisco who believed that there was a rocket ship coming towards Earth. And if they committed suicide, they would get on that rocket ship and go away with the aliens. Now that's pretty wild. And they did that. They committed suicide, and because their leader was saying, this is the way. And it wasn't a lot of people, a few did it. But that's cultish. When you have one person who controls people very dramatically, I can see it as a cult. I'm as free as a bird in the LDS Church, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I can do whatever I want. No one's saying, oh, did you go to an R-rated movie? Did you smoke? Did you do your home teaching? Did you do whatever? I don't have any pressure to do anything other than love God, love Christ, and be the Christian I want to be. That doesn't feel like a cult to me. Now the Christians can go, oh, you foolish boy, of course you're a cult. I live it. They're just looking from the outside. So my opinion is, based on what the Christian religionists are saying, we're really not a cult by definition. I believe we believe in the right Jesus. Now, I don't put down the Christians and saying because they're Trinitarians they're going to hell. They can believe what they want. I know a lot of good Christian men. So the religion that they have can make people better. That's what we want, is draw them closer to Christ. So no problem. I just believe we believe in the right Jesus. And as far as us going to hell, at death we'll find out the great word. In my opinion, there's not a chance that Mormons are going to hell. Again, if you lived among us, you would see the beauty of the people. And I've told this story before. One Christian preacher said, hey, if I lived anywhere, I'd want to live in Utah, because the Mormons have great families, great neighborhoods, great people, love the people, but wrong Jesus, so they're going to hell. Again, he's judging. He doesn't know us. Live among us. Be with us, and you'll find the Christian spirit as strong as anywhere ever. Thank you so much for listening. Hope to see you on down the road.